he also was just a very interesting character.
All right, well, let's dive into his personal life. What can you tell us about his upbringing? Did he show signs early on of being a prodigy?
Ironically, it was his brother that was identified as the one that was going to soar in this family. He was about 5 years older. His name was Dane. He was clearly Nikola Tesla's idol and, the favorite of, the parents. But unfortunately, when Dane was 12 and Nikola was 7, a tragedy happened. The family's Arabian stallion bolted and threw young Dane to the ground, and he died that night of his injury. So imagine, as a young lad of 7 years old, you saw your brother die, and not only that, his mother then wakes him up in the middle of the night and says, "Come and kiss your dead brother goodbye." How racking has that got to be? I mean, even
Wow.
50 years later, Tesla would write that image was still seared in his mind. The critical thing here, though, is you would think that the parents would now look at their surviving son and say, "You're our guy, and how can we flourish your prospects? You're obviously bright." I mean, he was able to read and write in 7 different languages. He could recite lengthy poems and full short stories from memory. But what the parents did instead was continue to focus on what would have happened if Dane had lived. And he became this idol, this, icon that, Nikola Tesla just could not live up to. So his early days, oddly enough, were trying to find appreciation from particularly his father, but his mother as well. And it led him to do kind of strange things. And, even when he finally got to university to study engineering, he had his first 2 years, he was stellar. He got higher marks than anybody had ever gotten at this school. Great letters of recommendations from all of his professors. And what did his parents say? Dane could have done better. It was crushing, to him. And so Nikola actually, oddly enough, dropped out of school, took up gambling and billiards, moved away secretly to another town, got arrested by the police for vagrancy, and was brought back home by the police. So, no, to answer your initial question, he was not initially viewed as the one within the family that would be the great prodigy. And he sort of, claims that some of his, mind wanderings and inventing spirit came from his efforts to try and, deal with the lack of appreciation from particularly his father.
All right, well, I believe